Hey guys, this is GeekisCarnage, and this video is going to be a little overview or a review of the iPod Touch 4th generation. I'm going to be going through some of the specs, hardware, and some of the software. Alright, let's get into this. On the front we have a beautiful 3.5 inch 960 by 640 resolution display. Apple calls it the Retina display. It makes text and images so much crisp and clear. There's a very noticeable difference when compared to an older iDevice. Right here we have the front facing camera, which is used for the app FaceTime and many other things. It can film at a VGA quality at 30 frames per second and take stills at 480 by 640 in portrait and 640 by 40 in landscape. On the side we have two separate volume buttons. Something that I don't like is that they had to put the buttons at an angle because the iPod Touch is so thin. I prefer the volume rocker on the older iPod Touches because it's just easier to use when you're not looking. On the side we have nothing. On the bottom we have a dedicated speaker port. Here we have the 30-pin dock port, and right here we get the 3.5mm headphone jack. And on top we have the sleep power button, which is like the volume buttons. It's a bit hard to press since it's at an angle. Alright. And on the back we have the rear-facing HD camera. It films at a resolution of 1280 by 720 at 30 frames per second. It takes stills at 960 by 720. The HD video is actually pretty decent. Right here, that's the mic. On the older iPod Touches, it had like a Wi-Fi antenna plastic piece. Well, that's gone now. For the new case design, it's rounded at the edges like the iPod Touch 2G and 3G, and flat on the back like the iPod Touch 1G. I love the flat back. And just look how thin it is. It's 0.28 inches thin and weighs 3.56 ounces. What's Apple's deal on making things slimmer? For me, the new Touch is just too thin. So thin that it's uncomfortable to handle sometimes. Inside the iPod has Apple's A4 processor, which is used in both the iPad and iPhone, and 256 megabytes of RAM, which is kind of disappointing, but the thing is still super fast. Some new stuff they added was wireless N, a 3-axis gyroscope, and a bigger battery. I went 3 days without charging this, and I used it a lot. Now onto the software. Out of the box it came with iOS 4.1. I'm going to show you some of the apps and a few features I like. We have FaceTime. There's nothing really in this app, it's just a contacts app, but for FaceTime, a FaceTime for the iPod Touch uses email addresses. So if you want to FaceTime with somebody, you just add their email address and just tap to call them. Like this. You add, and then you have the email, tap it, press FaceTime, and it'll FaceTime call. Of course you need a valid email address. Here we have the camera app. What's displaying right now is the front-facing camera. It shoots both stills and video in both portrait and landscape. It does have tap to exposure, not tap to focus. Tap to exposure comes in handy in dark areas. It does not have zoom on the front-facing camera, but if you switch to the rear-facing camera in still mode, it has tap to exposure, not tap to focus. It has zoom, a digital zoom. It shoots photos and video in both portrait and landscape. The video shoots in 1280 by 720 HD video, like so. It has tap to exposure while using the video. And that was the camera app. And here we have Game Center, which is kind of like Apple's own Xbox Live and PSN service. It adds achievements to the games and a friends list. If you want to add me on Game Center, my username is CarnageXB. Now, onto some features I like. We have multitasking, which comes in handy sometimes. We have folders, which is a great way to consolidate your apps and keep them organized. And we have wallpapers. Wallpapers just adds a bit of user customization, which is better than just a black background. So that was my overview of the iPod Touch 4G. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys.